Welcome back, guys. You guys have been going crazy in the comments asking for a tutorial on this music video, and I can see why. I really like this music video, directed by the same guy that directed that Kendrick Lamar Humble music video. So a bunch of awesome stuff, some similar stuff to that, as well as some new stuff that I'm really excited to cover and show you guys how to do. So I'm going to demonstrate around 80% of the effects used in this video so you guys can follow along step by step. 15% of it, I would say, I already have made tutorials on it. I'm going to link you to that effects that I want to make a separate video for because I'm interested in them and they probably need some more time to talk about. But I have a bunch of really cool stuff, a bunch of new stuff that I've never talked about before that I'm going to show you how to do. So super exciting. Anyways, if you guys are new here, consider subscribing, joining the community, leave a like if you do enjoy these kind of videos. Of course, if you guys need any presets, plugins, resources, stuff like that for your own videos, check out my website link down below, MediaMonopoly.co. Anyways, let's hop right into this. We're not going to spend too much time on the breakdown because I want to get to the juicy stuff and showing you guys exactly how to do this within your own softwares. Getting off, what we have here is this little 3D scene, and you can do this in Element 3D pretty easy. I'm pretty sure what they did is just composited in a drone shot and then made a little Element 3D city in the back, as well as this 3D model here. Now, Travis Scott probably had a team of designers make this. Obviously, this was like the staple head for his album artwork. Just doing a quick little Google search, actually found this link that you guys can check out down below that'll give you guys an OBJ, which you can plug into After Effects with Element 3D or any 3D software. I found it from this Reddit thread right here in case you guys want to find any other ones. I threw it into Cinema 4D real quick just to show you guys, just to show all the different little things that you can do with this. So that is really easy to get a hold of, and of course, like I said, you can do it with Element 3D for After Effects or any 3D software. So moving on, this is one of the most common effects that goes throughout this entire video, this kind of marquee effect with all these things going on here. We can do that pretty easy in After Effects. So if we look at the original clip, you can see it's just kind of these patterns and they're automated to kind of change colors, and we're going to do that easily just by making some masks. Obviously, it would take a lot of work just to do that by hand. Maybe some plugin that I don't know of, but what you can do is just draw any little masks going like this, set them to none for now, and let's just draw a bunch of them. Reposition them like this, and basically what you're doing is just dividing the scene up into a group of squares like that, for example, and when you scroll through here, that mask is going to stay the same, so the marquee is not going to be moving around. You don't have to account for any motion. Now say for example, let's go ahead and start setting this up. So I'll click Control D to duplicate that layer, and then I'll click the M key on that to open up my masks. Say for example, let's make this middle pink mask here, change colors. Let's make that add a little curves effect, just like that. And then let's just bump it up. And you guys are gonna see in this mask area, it's staying a little bit lighter. You guys can keyframe this, you can change it around. Let me show you another example. Let's go to our original clip again. Control D to duplicate it, and let's move that up so it's kind of going up in order. Click the M key again just to open up your masks, and then let's select the second mask and do the same thing. So curves, or what you can do is just click on the old clip and just grab it from the effect controls, Control V to paste it in there. Make sure that the second mask is on add, and then you can make any adjustment, making it lighter or darker. That's how you can add that. Of course, doing the actual animation itself, you need keyframes. So let's come over here to our first little bar that we worked on, this pink mask, and let's go ahead and just keyframe the mask opacity, drag a little bit, and then just make that 0. Fade to normal. Of course, you can change the keyframes to do that. Something like that. That's just a little example, guys. If you want, you can go all out and put in the time to make that effect. Maybe find a similar overlay that can do the same thing. But that's how you would go about creating that, and it's a pretty cool looking effect. Now on to another one, which I think is really cool. This kind of Andy Warhol-like color. They got this really bold yellow, as well as some masks on these houses just to give them a specific color. And I really love this. They put a lot of time and detail into making this perfect. Everything from the actual kids being masked out, the cars, and I really loved how this turned out. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and Andy Warhol is a really big part of Pittsburgh. I got a picture taken of me as a kid, and it's like my face with a bunch of different Andy Warhol colors, something similar to that. So let's go into Premiere and let's go ahead and try and recreate this. Okay, so it's pretty easy to do this one. All we need to do is go over to our effects library over here on the left. Just look up the change to color effect. So I'm just gonna search change color, and make sure you use change to color and not just change color. Change to color has some better options for what we're trying to achieve here. Let's drag it on there and then come up to our effect controls. So in your effect controls, just find change to color, and then you're gonna see some eyedroppers. So let's click on this first eyedropper. I'm just going to put it on this gray road. Next, what we wanna do is we wanna click 2, and we wanna select the right color yellow. Now, this is actually pretty tricky because depending on what color yellow you choose, you're gonna get a different outcome. So for example, if we do this yellow, this is the outcome we get, but I actually went through and found the right one, and here is the actual code for that yellow. if you guys want to copy that. It is FFE400. So keep that in mind, FFE400. I'm gonna just copy and paste that in there, and then you guys will see the difference from this yellow to the one that we've got here. So let's paste that in there, click OK, and then let's go ahead and change around some of these settings. So change hue to hue and lightness, and there we go, more kind of overwhelming. And then we just need to go to our softness and change that to how we would like it. And that, I think, is pretty close to how they had it in the video. Kind of this washed out yellow. It's gonna be different every time depending on the clip. Of course, what you can do is also come over here to your Lumetri color panel in your color workspace, any of these settings, just to kind of help with that. You really just need to play with the settings. Now let me show you how we can do the masking, and I'm gonna show you quickly how you can do it within Premiere, and then I'm gonna show you how you can do an easier way within After Effects. If you wanna do it just within Premiere, it's actually pretty simple. Let's go back to our effect controls and then just find our change to color effect, and you're gonna see some masking tools right here. Let's go ahead and click this pen tool, and we're just gonna draw a little shape around what we want to mask out. So let's change the color of this rooftop, and you're gonna see right when you connect the mask, all of the effects go right inside that mask. So we want to invert that. So let's just click this inverted button, and now everything that's outside of the mask is gonna be affected by this change to color effect. And you can do some pretty cool stuff with that. You can bump up this mask feather if you want to blend your edges a little bit more. And now what we need to do is track it. The mask is not going to stay into place. So let's go back to where we just were, and let's click on our mask. And not a lot of people actually know about this. Let's just select our mask by clicking mask 1, and then click this little play button. That is Premiere's tracking system that's built in. I don't think it's as good as After Effects, but it definitely can get the job done on simple things just like this square rooftop. And as you see over here in this corner, it's generating all the keyframes for the track, and it's doing a pretty good job at that. Now let's just scrub through here, and you guys are going to see now the mask is moving along with the rooftop. You can even bump up the expansion or lower the expansion depending on how your mask is looking. And of course you can add color onto it using this change to color effect as well. So let's add another change to color, scroll down in our effect controls, and then let's go ahead and select the color of the roof, and then let's make it anything we want. So obviously in the video they are going for like cool Andy Warhol colors, and that is just about how you do it, guys. Quickly, I'm just going to show you how to do this within After Effects without taking up too much time from the rest of the tutorial. Let's remove all these effects, right click, replace with After Effects composition. And the only reason that I want to bring this into After Effects is just to show you how to track masks within After Effects in case you guys don't know. So the cool thing about After Effects is we can do the same exact thing. Just change to color effect. Just look up the same change to color effect under color correction, drag that in there, and then you can literally set it up the same exact way. So I'll paste that color code in there, and I'll bump up my hue. And in After Effects, I'm using about the same settings, but we're getting a very different outcome. So keep that in mind. After Effects and Premiere, you may have some different results. I recommend doing it in here because the masking is so much easier. You just click your pen tool, draw it on any shape, and as you can see, masking just in itself in After Effects is a lot more fast than in Premiere, especially if you're working on a bigger project. Let's click the M key and then make that mask none. Right click on the mask, click track mask, and then just click play in your tracker, just like that. And you're gonna see it's gonna track. And if it starts messing up a little, just click the spacebar to pause it, click on your layer and just adjust it, and then play again. Now, if you wanna apply changes onto this mask, just click that layer, click Control D, and we can even delete this original mask that's on our bottom layer. Let's click M on our keyboard on our top layer, and let's change the mask to add. And then let's go up, add another change to color on our top layer, and do the same exact thing. Let's change that from white into maybe red. And then of course you have all the options to color grade within After Effects as well. So I just added a little curves just to make that a bit darker, just as a little example. So that is how you do that color. Let's move through the video, guys. Now for all of these planets, I already made a video talking about Travis Scott's Astroworld, where I talked about using Element 3D and a lot of 3D tracking within After Effects. I'm gonna link you guys to that video just because I don't want to cram it all into here and have you guys miss the stuff that is completely new to the channel that I want to talk about in this video. So check that out. I've talked about Element hundreds of times on my channel, bunch of awesome videos. I want to get to the parts that you guys can follow along within your own software. So coming up here is a really cool part that I want to talk about, and this is actually reoccurring a lot of times within the videos. Now, as you see here, we have this face track on his face that's making this really kind of like high energy, really in your face kind of mood, and they do use this a lot within the video. Now I'm going to show you how you can do this. It's pretty cool, especially if there's a lot of movement. Okay, so I just went in and found a shot similar to that Drake shot where we have the face in the middle and we also have a lot of quick movement going on, and we're gonna go ahead and try and apply this effect. So it's really easy. Just right click on your clip, click replace with After Effects composition, and we're gonna set this all up within After Effects. All right, so we have it within After Effects. Now all you need to do to set this up, go up to the window tab, make sure that your tracker is checked right here. That's super important. Then come over here to the right or wherever this kind of navigation bar is, find your tracker. You might have to kind of resize these windows just to make sure that you see all of these options, but make sure this is completely showing. Now we have 4 options here. So the track camera button, that's kind of how you set up 3D cameras and you can paste things to parts of your scene. Track motion, that's if you want to track a specific part. So say for example, if we wanted to track his glasses and then put something in them, you would use track motion. Warp stabilizer, that's just to kind of fix shakiness. We want to use stabilize motion. So just click on stabilize motion. It's gonna pop up a normal track point just as if you were tracking normal motion. And let's just take this track point and let's just put it right on his face, just like that. And then let's just put it right in the middle of his face, just like that. And it's pretty easy. You don't have to set up a null object and paste the information like other tracking methods. All you need to do is just click play, just like that. And let's go and let's see how well this does. It's a little bit shaky, so you may need to try a few times experimenting with different places that you paste that track point, but let's just see the outcome of this, and it might actually look pretty cool. So it's generally staying on the face, which is okay. As you see, all these little keyframes are here. Let's just go ahead and click apply and then click OK on X and Y, and then let's see what it looks like here. So what it's doing here is tracking the middle of your scene to that stabilized motion point that we did. Now, as you see, there's kind of these black bars here, and that's because it's rescaling it so that it can stay in that spot. To fix that, it's super easy. Just click on your scene, and let's go to a part where it's kind of shooken up a little bit. And let's just take that corner and scale it up. And then we can go through here and check it out. And here, as you see, it's a pretty cool shot. And you can use this to add a lot of really awesome dynamics to your scenes and to really focus on what you want the audience to focus on. So I think it actually makes this shot look a lot better. It's more like in your face. It really does lock the camera onto there. And the more motion you have, the more crazy it's gonna get. Obviously in this Drake one, there's a lot of motion, and that's why there's so much shaking. You can even add in your own motion blur just by clicking toggle switches and modes. Just make sure that's checked. Or of course you can add any kind of motion blur effect preset that you guys have. If you do need any effects or presets, like I said, check out my website, link down below. Had to plug that in real quick. But anyways, it's as simple as that. You can use it for a simple example just like this. The most extreme example I know that this is used in is in It. So this is using the same exact method that I just showed you. As you can see, the camera is really locked onto him, and they do it a lot through here. It's a pretty cool movie. You should check it out. I really like the original It. But anyways, it is again in the basement scene of It. As you can see here, when he's doing that craziness, the camera is following all that movement. So like I said, you can do some really awesome stuff with that. So this right here, this is pixel sorting, and I made a bunch of videos on this. One plugin I would recommend you get that I talked about in some of my previous videos is the Glitchify plugin. Not only does this give you pixel sorting for After Effects, but it gives you a bunch of other cool glitch stuff. So that's why I'd recommend getting this one over just the normal pixel sorting plugin that you could get from aescripts.com. Let me show you real quick. I'll throw Glitchify onto that clip that I just motion tracked. I'll turn off channel glitch. I'll turn off color glitch. If you want to make it a transition just like in this music video, it's super easy. Let's just come over to where it says pixel streak. Let's keyframe that, move a little bit, and then bump that up. And here you go. Starts normal, bam, transition. Simple as that, using quick little keyframes within the plugin. Whether you have Glitchify or the exact plugin from aescripts.com, both will be linked down below. Let's keep moving on here because we have a lot more to cover. This right here is data moshing. The Soldier Boy video I just edited that I was talking about earlier, I use data moshing a lot. Here's a quick little example. Just like this, bam, you can create some really cool stuff. Bam, wipes away the old scene just using data moshing. Here's another awesome one. Had the shot of 2K, and then he comes out of the game just using data moshing, strung together with a lot of clips. I've already made a full guide tutorial on how to do this, guys. I'm thinking about making an updated version on that. Here it is right here. And a lot of people have been commenting saying they couldn't get it to work, so I might make an updated version of that. Let me know in the comments if you do want me to make an updated version, because now that time has progressed and I've done it more and learned more, I could definitely kind of make revisions to this and maybe build more on P-frame data moshing as well. So like I said, let me know in the comments. If you want to know how to data mosh, check out this full video, this full individual video that's going to help you out a lot. Okay, moving on, guys. So we covered the pixel sorting, we covered the data moshing. I also made a tutorial on how to do this. This is using Element 3D like I said before, and it's just tracking it into place and matching the color grading and the lighting. Super easy to do. You can do it in Element 3D or you can do it in Cinema 4D. I'll link 2 videos down below. Check out the description. Go on YouTube and just look up Max Novak 3D track. Find a bunch of really awesome, useful stuff on that. In the other Travis Scott tutorial I made, I talked about how to do it within Cinema 4D. I've also talked about how to do it within Element. So like I said, just for time's sake, check out those videos if you want to learn how to 3D track in objects. And I've already given you a link for the 3D model for this as well. What I think they did here is they did this really cool effect in the background, and that effect is called the Moon Terminator Illusion Effect. Now, Vsauce actually made a video on this a while back, and I checked that out, and it does match out very well. I'm gonna link the article for you to check out. Basically what this is just kind of a variation of the dolly zoom effect that a lot of YouTubers have made videos on. That kind of effect where if you're moving forward, you keyframe back to get this kind of stretched out vertigo look. Just look up dolly zoom or vertigo look. The only difference is they added in that time lapse, and then for the performance scene, I'm pretty sure that's green screen in. So that's what I think they did for that. If you want me to make a full video recreating this, it would take a lot of setup, so let me know. I could definitely do that in the future. Now moving forward, this is pretty simple, this kind of stereoscopic like GIF look. All you need to do is just make a video go forwards and backwards. Pretty simple. Let's just hop in Premiere real quick. Let's just cut out maybe 5 frames of this, so shift and then right arrow key. Hold down Alt on your keyboard and then just drag that out to duplicate it. Right click that duplication, go to speed duration, and then reverse speed. Simple as that. Just put those together, hold down Alt and bring it back like that, just like this. And then just hold down Alt, keep making duplications. That's how you can make that little reverse look. Super easy, just changing the speed and then making some duplications. Now for this leaning, I watched Justin Odisho's breakdown of this, and he was saying how he thinks there's some kind of on-set mechanic covered up by these. I agree with that. Similar with like the Michael Jackson boots. I didn't even notice it until he pointed that out. That I'm pretty sure is more inset than actual post. Now moving on here, we got a cool little effect. And this kind of reminds me of those AWGE, like a lot of pop-up kind of editing. Now, as you see here, this chain kind of pops up for a second, and the chain is in a form of a noose, and just some simple masking brings this towards you. Now, let me show you how we can do that. Chain PNG, just on Google Images, and I'm gonna click Tools, and I'm gonna go to Color, make sure that Transparent is checked. And let's find a good example, maybe this one. So right click that, save the image, make sure it's a PNG with that transparent background so there's nothing in the back. Click save, and then let's just open that up and drag that into Premiere. In fact, let's drag it into After Effects just to save time, because we're gonna bring it into After Effects anyway. So we have it in After Effects. The background for that shot, I'm pretty sure they just took a corner of this scene right here, and what they did was they did a lot of rotate and they did a lot of zooming in and out. Now you can do that with After Effects cameras as well as with your actual lens. Let's hop into After Effects. Let me just grab a quick little background from Google Images, and we'll drag that into After Effects as well. Drag that in the layer below. Now, the first thing that I notice is not only are we creating these mask duplications, we have this pretty cool like 3D towards your face kind of thing going on. Now to set that up, it's actually pretty simple. Let's just click toggle switches and modes until we see this little 3D cube. Let's go ahead and check that to make it a 3D layer. And that way we can go into our transform options and we can actually change our Z position. And of course we can add in cameras, which kind of change things around. So all you need to do is click Control D to duplicate this, and then go into your options, and we can change around our Z position, kind of like this. And we can go ahead and set up a little animation, sort of like the BTS tutorial I did in my last one, where we set up that 3D going through the mouth tunnel. Check that tutorial out, it has some really cool stuff. This is pretty similar, we're just setting up a little 3D tunnel type thing. I'm gonna keyframe my position on my duplication, and I'm gonna drag a bit. I'm gonna drag to the left my Z position, so that's coming towards the camera. So here's what that looks like. Just like that. Let's go ahead and duplicate that again. Control D. And let's open that up. Transform options. And let's go ahead and just drag that keyframe back. So now as you see, since we drag the keyframe back, it's changing around the timing, and we just have some easy, cool little things going on. Let's do it maybe one more time. Drag that keyframe back, and there you go. It's just delete the original and make this just the normal first one you're seeing. Maybe add one more duplication, open up transform, same thing, drag back the keyframe, bam. If you want it to go backwards, let's open up our first one, and let's drag to 16 and just click reset. So here's what that's gonna look like. Goes back because we clicked reset so that it resets to its original position. Do the same thing. Let's open that up. Let's go ahead and click reset here, but let's drag that maybe a little bit further back to 20. And then the same exact thing, just go up the line, go to transform, click reset, and drag it like that. Let's check that out. Tunnel coming towards you and then going back. Let's go ahead and make these pop in one by one. And that's super easy to do. Just take your layer and just drag it and just drag them back, going in like a staircase. So bam, bam, bam. Also make sure that the layers are in the right position so that the first one is on the top. So I just rearranged them just like how you saw. Another really awesome thing is, since these are all 3D layers, you can right click down here, go to new, go to camera, click OK. You guys can actually keyframe. Let's make sure our background is a 3D layer as well. And now we can zoom in and out of this actual scene. And if you want an easier visual representation of what's going on here, here's just a little sight of it. Now this is a really cool one that I want to talk about. And in this one, what they're doing is they're mixing together two effects. They're taking somebody's face and they're kind of wiggling it around. They're mixing in that tracked motion camera that we talked about earlier. The one earlier where it was Drake's face motion track, the one that they used for It on Pennywise, they're adding that onto this as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Drag this picture in, right click, go to transform, fit to composition, and we're looking good here. So let's first set up the animation of his face moving, and then we're going to do the motion track. So for this, we're going to use the mesh warp. So just look up mesh warp, and this is going to make it a little bit easier in terms of the keyframes and just making sure that what we want to move is moving and nothing else. So with the mesh warp, you can create some beautiful things just like this. But anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to bump up the rows and the columns to maybe 14 by 14, and let's click on the effect to see that's looking okay. So 21 by 15, so that we can get this line going right down the middle of his face. That's looking okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna set up a keyframe. So just click this button right here in your effect controls, keyframe distortion mesh, and let's go and move 4 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna go ahead and just take these little parts here and move them up. So let's take the bridge of his nose, move it up, take the nose, move it up. And then let's go ahead and even take the mouth and move it up a bit. Let's move another 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you see, every time we're making a change, these keyframes are popping up here. And let's go ahead and just click reset. So here's what we made. If for some reason you're getting this little error here where it's kind of flickering, that's just because the keyframes are resetting your rows. So let's go back to our rows and columns. Make sure that's what we had originally, 21 by 15. And there, it looks a lot better. So we made it go up and down. Let's go ahead and just Control C on the keyframe that made it go up here. And then let's move another 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4. Click on our layer, Control V to paste. And then let's reset again. So page down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Click reset. Here's our animation. To fix the error, like I said, just make that 21 by 15. So looking good, just like that. Now let's go ahead and add that camera track. Now there's a catch to this. We can't just add this onto the picture with the effect. We're gonna have to render this real quick. So let's actually go to composition settings, and we don't need this to be that long. We don't need it to be 3 whole seconds. I think we only use like 1 second. Let's just make this 2 seconds, click OK. And let's go to File, Export, and then Add to Render Queue. Now in our render queue, we can just use best settings. Let's go ahead and just name it what we want. You can make it an AVI or an MOV, whatever format you're the most comfortable with. I'm just gonna name this Drake Face Animation. Click Save, and then click Render. All right, so just finished rendering. Let's go back into our project, and let's make a new composition, click OK. And let's go ahead and just bring in that rendered video. So I'm gonna search for it. So what we're gonna do here now is the same exact thing I showed you earlier with that track motion. Let's make sure our tracker window is there. So go up to Window, make sure that Tracker is checked, and then let's go ahead and just go down to our tracker. So drag down here. Here's our tracker. Select your layer, and then click Stabilize Motion. And then go ahead and take that track point and then just put it right on the bridge of the nose. Now we can just click play, and it does a super easy track just like that. Let's go ahead and click apply, X and Y, yes, and let's check it out. And we're gonna have to adjust it, so just take that edge, drag it out, and it's looking good. Let's play that out, bam. Super cool effect. It makes it kind of look 3D. And I think if you add that into your music videos or whatever kind of videos you guys are making, you guys are gonna get some really cool outcomes. All right guys, let's keep moving along. We still got a lot to cover. Now this is one that I'm not gonna cover in this video, the mouths moving on the train. I do wanna make a separate tutorial for this. I need to go out and get some appropriate footage that can help with this. And basically what we're going to be using is the puppet tool in After Effects. But like I said, let me know in the comments. I probably want to, there's like a 90% chance I'm already going to make a separate video talking about how to do that. And then I also want to show how to sync audio to the mouth. Moving along here, another awesome little effect. You can do this really easy. Just put your camera on a tripod, maybe put an X wherever they're standing so that you can match it up perfectly. You have everyone change their clothes, they step back on the X, you make the cut, and then you add in some super cool little effect. In terms of all the glitching and this cool RGB that's going on here, I actually have a really cool preset on my website. I have a few tutorials talking about how you can make this by scratch. If you just look up on YouTube, Max Novak RGB effect, $10, you can pick up this huge pack of already pre-made presets that you guys can use. It's called the Color King pack, and as you see, there's a bunch of different options, and there's super simple instructions for making RGB splits just like this. Even some crazier stuff. Let me just throw an adjustment layer on here. Let's take Psychedelic 1 from Color King, and you'll have some pretty cool animated presets with that RGB going on. Moving along, we have some really beautiful shots. I really love the set design of this and what they were going for. This just looks amazing here with all the lighting going on. The outfits that they're wearing look super cool. Here's some more stuff that could have been composited in with a green screen. Here's that marquee effect that I was talking about earlier. Some more really beautiful stuff with lighting, some underwater shots. Really liking how that's going on. Here's that motion track again on the face, but this time it didn't really turn out as good as the other times. But that's just another example. Now coming up here, this is the effect that every single person wants to know how to do, and I've tried my luck with this for super long, and I don't exactly know how to do it, but I think I came pretty close to figuring out the right direction. Now it's going to be different depending on every shot, and let's go ahead and just break this down real quick before we start talking about this. So what we have here is we have a freeze frame, and basically just the normal clone effect that is all over YouTube. There's a lot of tutorials on how to do this. Now the only difference is we have this crazy kind of like slimy trail coming out of the clone, but there are some trails coming out here. So as you see, you can kind of match up the motion and the colors on his back with these trails. You can see that this kind of is following his movement, and that's what I think makes this effect look so smooth, is that it's a perfect track and that it's a nice trail effect. Now I found something pretty similar to this. Okay guys, so for this effect, you're going to need a shot on a tripod. So my cat is going to be playing the part of Travis Scott, and I literally just sat my camera on the floor and got this nice little shot of her just chasing this thing that we can go ahead and apply that clone effect and then the trail. So let's right click that, click replace with After Effects composition. Now I'm not claiming this is the exact way to do this. There's a huge chance that there's many other ways to do this. There could be some sort of program, some sort of plugin. The good thing about these kind of tutorials, the breakdowns of these bigger videos, is usually the comment sections are filled with input, adding on to things that I missed, adding on to things that not a lot of people know. So check out the comment section. This is just my take on how to do it. So let's go ahead and set up the clone. So I'm gonna click Control D and Control Shift D just to split it, so we're just working at this moment. And I'm gonna go ahead and select the pen tool, and I'm just going to mask out the subject. Okay, so we have an easy little mask. Let's go ahead and just hide this layer. And I'm gonna click M on my keyboard, open up my mask options, and I'm going to actually bump that feather up just like that. Maybe bring the mask expansion down a tiny bit, and then that's looking good. So now we can bring this back, and now one more step before we play it, right click on this clip, go to time, and then go to freeze frame. So let's go ahead and play that. And as you see, it just leaves a little clone behind. And because it's on a tripod, this is already locked into place. I'm gonna bump the feather down a little bit, maybe make it 7 pixels. You could even duplicate this again and just make another little freeze frame of this shadow here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just right click that, go to time, and then freeze frame. And then I'm gonna click M on the shadow layer, open up my mask options, and then just blend that. So something like that, if you want to make it look a little bit more realistic. That looks a lot better with that shadow in place. That's pretty cool in of itself, but what we're really after is this trail effect. Now there's one thing that I found that's pretty similar to this, and I'm not sure how to make it by scratch. If anyone knows in the comments, let me know. The one thing that I found that is similar is this sapphire trails effect. So you need to have the sapphire pack to do this, and I made a bunch of videos talking about it. I'm pretty sure if you send them an email of a student ID, you'd be able to pick up a copy of it for free, but check out my other videos. Probably know me from like the ASAP Rocky stuff, so you're probably familiar with Sapphire by Boris Effects. Just go ahead and look up Sapphire Trails. So I'm gonna look up trails, drag Sapphire Trails onto our very bottom layer, the one of our original footage. Now let's go ahead and drag, and here's what the normal trails looks like. Kind of like this. Now what we want is something a little bit different. Now I tried to do the liquefy effect to create this, but it just didn't really match. What I did is I clicked load preset in my effect controls for Sapphire Trails, and there's some really awesome presets that you guys can take a look at. So the one I use is Frozen Time. And here's what that looks like. It's kind of this put together trail. You guys can go through these settings and change anything around. You can even duplicate this footage and maybe even just move it back a bit. So I've made the duplication, I put it on darken. It still has that Sapphire Trails effect. And I'm gonna maybe even do that again and move it further back. So something along those lines, and then adding in any kind of blurring, any kind of color grading onto here. Another thing you could do is you could rotoscope the original layer so that you have an isolated layer of just the cat. Just adding in some red color grade here and just adding it to these other layers. If it is some sort of trail effect, I don't think there's any way I could exactly replicate the adjustments used to make it look like this. Obviously there's some like gloss and shine in here. It looks really cool. Like I said, if you have anything to add, let me know in the comment section down below. And that's basically my hypothesis on it. That's probably the closest and best that I could come up with. So we got this going on here, zooms into his eye, and you can just use an After Effects camera for that, and then just the green screen clip on his eye. I'm gonna link a tutorial below on how to do this. Pretty simple, just using some masking and then changing around the background, stuff like that. I know that there's a way you can use the slice tool in Cinema 4D, paste things to an object and then slice them up. Try and recreate this in Cinema 4D in a separate video. Let me know if that's something you want. With this board, just using masking to kind of piece things together. So with the board, what they did was, this was probably around this size. All they did was take a corner of this, masked it, duplicated it, and then used feathering to kind of connect it all together. And then this awesome robotic movement that you can create with that special camera that they used for the Humble video. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I think I covered a good amount. There was so much stuff, hard to cover everything. I think I did my best. The things that I didn't cover, I'm planning on making videos in the future, individual videos talking about them. I've written the ideas down. The other stuff I didn't cover, like I said, check those links down in the description. I already have specific videos covering how to do exactly that. I think it's easier to link the stuff that I've already made a certain video for, instead of kind of mashing it into this big smorgasbord of a tutorial that I have here. But we did cover a lot of awesome stuff. We talked about pixel sorting, we talked about data moshing, the marquee effect, that Warhol color. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you did enjoy. Check out my other videos. We have a bunch of ones on ASAP Rocky, some on Kendrick Lamar, some on a bunch of other videos that you may know a lot about or you may not know that much about. Either way, I can guarantee, check out those playlists. You're bound to learn a bunch of useful information. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.